I'm going to make a quiet video now that I've had a couple minutes to process what I saw. I look tired. Yeah, I'm tired. It's because I've been working all day. I don't mind being quiet for this video, so I hope you don't have to turn your volume up, because I think we all need some quiet in our life after watching that absolute shit show. That was that debate. I'm mentally exhausted from just feeling like I had to deal with what was occurring on the screen. Oh yeah, it was engaging, but it wasn't like watching a wrestling match or a boxing match or a debate. It was basically watching Chris Wallace sell every bit of integrity he had and just sell it out right there, right on the stage. Chris Wallace should be ashamed of himself, and Fox should fire him. No, I don't normally call for the firing of somebody because they made a mistake, because people are allowed to make mistakes, but this has been a pattern with the way Chris conducts interviews and how he will challenge Republicans in ways by cutting them off when they're making a point and then reiterate something that, he doesn't know is a fact, that is a fact, and just question it. And when a Democrat's talking, he just lets them go. And, I get that there's there was the 2-minute rule, right? You're supposed to talk for 2 minutes and then the exchange occurs, right? That was fine for about 2 questions, but after the second question, Trump was pretty much routinely interrupted during his 2 minutes by Wallace. I get the moderator can ask to move things back on track, but that's not what was happening. Wallace, he challenged Trump on everything he was saying. He framed questions as more of assertions of stances than actual questions. He didn't really let the candidates explain themselves. He more of asserted a position or asserted an attack against usually the president, and then said, respond. And then with Biden, it was he asserted an attack against the president and basically said, elaborate. Not for every question, but for most of the questions. I've never seen it. I don't know if I've maybe I have seen it that bad because there was the hell was her name? Cindy Crowley, I think was her name, was the debate moderator during the Biden, oh my God, the Obama-Romney debate, where she literally asserted a fact that actually was incorrect. And Romney wasn't a particularly good debater. And so that in terms of being one-sided, it's kind of hard to say whether that was the worst debate I've ever seen. Because I think that one was made worse in a lot of ways because Romney did such a poor job of actually fighting back. But this was the worst, I think, in terms of the utter smugness of Wallace to even assert that was any sort of fair debate. Literally, Trump got cut off multiple times where he would respond to what Biden said and then make a point to retaliate, and then Biden would say, don't get into that, or I'm sorry, not Biden, Wallace would say, no, don't get into that, talk over him, just bailing Biden out from essentially the attack that he was going to have to answer Trump for. And then Biden, when he literally would forget the question, or start getting, rightfully interrupted by Trump, who wanted to assert that, a tangent that Biden was going on was basically worth interrupting because it was not based on reality, for example, or the fact that Biden didn't answer any questions, for example, or certain questions, the Supreme Court question, right? Biden just skated. Wallace didn't push him at all. and there wasn't anything Trump skated on. There was his worst moment was the confusion when the white supremacist thing was brought up. Wallace once again pushed the very fine people hoax. Shame on him. He knows that's a hoax. Just because Biden is saying it doesn't mean that if you form it in a question, that's fair. Because you know objectively as a journalist that that's a hoax. And that's not really fair to ask somebody in that context. That's like the, when did you stop beating your wife question. Like basically that's what it is. It's the whole premise is slanted. And Trump wasn't having any of it. And then he said, well, will you denounce white supremacists? And then he was talking about the violence and militias and stuff. And Trump said, who do you want me to denounce? And then Biden and Wallace were talking at the same time, and it was just chaos. And he said, white supremacists, yeah, I did. He said, yeah. He said, no, I agree. But what he didn't say was the words, I denounce white supremacists. I mean, part of it's like he didn't feel he had to. I think he was just taking a stance of where like he was insulted by that. And then Biden said, "Oh, the Proud Boys," and then Trump's like, "Proud Boys, stay out of the fight, stay out of the fighting, stay back, because this is let us handle it." And like he was talking about that. And then the thing is you can't say denounce white supremacists, Proud Boys, and militias because those are three separate things. The Proud Boys, you could argue if they are a militia, but they're a separate, specific organization. Militias, well, there's a lot of different types of militias. There's left-wing militias, there's right-wing militias, and militias are constitutionally protected, basically until they turn into counter-government terrorist organizations. And even then, it's a little shaky. So he's not going to just denounce militias, right? And then you tying in white supremacists with that, but it's like, well, who are you referring to as white supremacists? He says he said he denounces white supremacists, and he says it, and then they say, okay, so you denounce the Proud Boys, and then he wouldn't even be able to answer the question. So he was trying to carefully avoid the trap, and he didn't do the best job of. I think he should have just been assertive right there, and because he acted more indignant than assertive, and I think he should have been assertive there, and he should have actually attacked Chris Wallace. Like that's what he should have done. He should have counterpunched Wallace right there. I mean, he was debating with Wallace easily as much of the time as he was debating with Biden, and it was because Wallace, the second Trump would start elaborating on something, Wallace would step in and cut him off. It was ridiculous. So then, of course, Trump, had to interrupt later on, and then when he was interrupting later on, Wallace would scold him, Mr. President, you agreed to the 2 minutes. It was like, and then when Trump would shut up, Wallace would want to lecture him for like another couple seconds. And Trump wasn't having any of that. It's one thing to say, okay, let him finish, and it's another thing to say, stop, okay, let's go over the rules again, like a little child. Trump knows what the rules are, but he also knows when he's being shafted. So that was insulting, and it was insulting to the audience too. He should have just let them fight, and I get that. Trump's the bigger personality, so he was kind of steamrolling Biden in a lot of ways, but Biden wasn't getting fact-checked at all by Wallace, and if that's not going to happen, then Wallace has no right to assert, essentially, counterpoints to the president if he's not going to do the same thing to Biden. He basically did the easy layups for, basically, he set up the tee for Biden, and he said, okay, swing the bat, and then he literally was trying to peg Trump with the ball. I'm saying literally, figuratively, can you tell I'm tired? And then that was supposed to somehow be the same, and it's like, literally, Trump, I believe he engaged easily as much with Wallace. I'll be surprised if it's not as much or more with Wallace than he even did have to with Biden, because that was an embarrassment. I'll have a little bit of time to sit on it. As you can tell, I'm sitting on the couch because I had finished watching. I watched some of the post-analysis. OAN called out Wallace. I was really disappointed in Fox not calling out Wallace. I get it. It's probably because they all have personal loyalty to each other, and that's probably not an appropriate thing to do. Maybe if that's your coworker, but I mean, if I were somebody like Bert Hume or Brett Baer, or Martha McCallum, even I would rip him such a huge new one. If I was if I was his producer, I don't care how much of a veteran he thinks he is in the news industry. That performance wasn't acceptable. It wasn't acceptable at all. Um, I mean, as for who won the debate, technically you would say Trump won because he basically fought off two people at once. But really, in order to win the debate, you have to actually convince the other side that you've won, and that wasn't going to happen because Biden was propped up. Biden didn't crap himself, therefore they declare victory. If you are ignorant of the facts of the situation, Biden said stuff that wasn't true, and Trump said stuff that the left didn't basically probably doesn't know about. And then Biden just said, "Oh well, he's lying," and that was never hashed out. The moderator never stepped in. I mean, Chris Wallace knew damn well some of these things that were being said from Biden were complete lies, and he also did things like conflate absentee ballots with mail-in ballots. He knows there's a difference. He knows there's a difference. He's not stupid. But he did that because that's a Democrat attack line. And here's the thing. You can do something like that as the moderator. You can basically be like, oh, here's the attack line, and submarine, somebody, and see how they respond to this. Because it's basically what are the people who are uninformed thinking, and then tell them why they're wrong, right? That's actually not a bad strategy, but you have to then do that to both sides. Wallace never did that to both sides. He never used the right-wing attack line. He used the basically not basically. I don't think he accused Biden of anything. He just said that some say it doesn't work or something. Like he was super soft with Biden. It was really really crazy. And it seemed when Trump was about ready to land kill blows, because there wasn't any subjects where like Biden was like, wow man, he's getting ahead of Trump on this one. There were times where Trump was getting out ahead and was like, oh my God, here's going to be like major punches being delivered, and Chris Wallace would just interrupt and do his absolute best to basically jump in front of Biden to avoid a knockout blow. And Biden would start getting frustrated and flustered and start flubbing, or he would get angry because of the stuff about his son and the cheating, and then what? Then Wallace would just step in and pretty much just okay, let's get it back on track. And I mean, Biden was staring at he did do the whole look at the camera thing like this, like I'm talking to you, America. Well, Trump did the thing where he would look back and forth. He would look at the camera, and then he would look at Biden when he was talking about Biden. He would look at the camera when he was talking about the people. Like, yeah, you guys see this? Like because Trump's a TV guy, so he knows a little better about how to do it. But when Trump was talking, and Biden was if Biden was accused of anything, or Trump said something that was really damaging that Biden couldn't answer, Biden just laughed like an idiot, like he did in the Paul Ryan debate. And then if some other stuff were going on, like Trump was just laying down details or explaining something from his position, Biden had his eyes closed and he was looking straight down. My mother was watching with me, and she said that it seemed like she asked, like, is somebody in Biden's ear talking to him? That's kind of what it sounded like. I should say, that's kind of what it looked like. It looked like his attention was elsewhere. I mean, why were his eyes closed? Like, what was that about? I don't know. If you love Biden and you hate Trump, this isn't going to change you. If you're on the fence, this probably is just going to convince you not to vote. But if you're a Republican, I'm hoping this motivates the people to realize, like, we're up against it. We can't even get a fair debate on Fox News, the evil right-wing Fox News. Trump has every institution lined up against it, short of, some newcomers. Short of, I guess, random people like me on the internet, and, even, Tim Pool's in his corner, right? I mean, that means something, but he's not a billion-dollar company that controls the airwaves and controls the debates, right? Tim Pool would have been a much better moderator than Chris Wallace. I mean, I think Donald Trump should go on Tim Pool's show. I think he should go on Joe Rogan's show. I think he should go on. He should sit down with Bill Whittle. He should sit down with. He should talk to Sargon of Akkad, even though he's a foreigner. It's still, in the conservative sphere, because he's got to, Sargon's going to ask him unique foreign policy things, likely, and Trump will get to talk about, especially the culture war and all that stuff, right? But Trump's a boomer. He's probably not super familiar. I mean, God, if I had my way, I'd him in Razor Fist have an interview. I hope Trump's campaign realizes that maybe in these last weeks, the alt media is where he's going to need to blast his message out. Biden, if this were Barack Obama would be going on like every YouTuber and TikToker and just sitting down doing cute things with like little mini Obama and annoying scene girls. I mean, Biden went and talked to Cardi B, right? Trump needs to take the time and hit up every single alt media place he can. He needs to talk to Dave Rubin. He needs to talk to Razor Fist. He should probably talk to Sargon. He should probably talk to Bill Whittle. He should sit down with Tim Pool. He should be hitting all of the alt media because he's not getting a fair shake. If this is how the debates are going to be run, if this is how the Fox debate is run, the conservative one, he's got to find a different way to get his main message out. So that's all. That was infuriating to watch. That was probably the most that was disgraceful. And really, Fox News they probably should can Wallace for that. I mean, I know what or something needs to change. That can't happen again. Or I should say the damage is done. It doesn't matter, right? That was awful. So.